Today we're going to unpack a really fascinating and, frankly, kind of wild piece of economic history. It's called the gilded straitjacket. Now think about that for a second. What if a system designed for ultimate financial safety ended up being the very thing that caused massive economic pain? That's the central mystery we're going to solve today. So, to really get this, you have to picture the world right after the First World War. I mean, the whole planet was just reeling from years of chaos. And more than anything else, people, governments, they were absolutely desperate for some kind of order, especially with their money. And look, this wasn't just some boring thing for economists to talk about. Oh no. All through the 1920s, this idea of creating a stable, predictable global economy became a total obsession. It was the project of the decade. And in this hunt for a hero, for a solution, the world turned to an old, trusted friend, gold. I mean, it made perfect sense, right? It was real, you could hold it, and everyone agreed it was valuable. This was the golden promise. Okay, so what is the gold standard, really? Well, it's actually a pretty simple idea. A country basically says, see this paper money? It's worth this much actual physical gold. Your dollar, your pound, it had a guaranteed value in shiny metal. And here's how it's supposed to work. First, you lock in your currency's value to a set amount of gold. Then, and this is the big one, you can only print as much cash as you have gold in the bank to back it up. The whole point was to create rock-solid stability and stop governments from just printing money whenever they felt like it. And you can see why everyone was so into this. On paper, the benefits looked incredible. You get stable exchange rates, you keep inflation under control, and international trade becomes smooth and predictable. It was supposed to be the recipe for global economic certainty. But, and you knew there was a but coming, here's where the story takes a turn. That beautiful promise of safety, that golden armor, well, it was about to become a prison. The very system built to protect everyone was about to start suffocating them. And then it happens, the Great Depression. And we're not talking about some minor recession here. This was a full-blown economic apocalypse that swept across the entire globe. Complete catastrophe. Now this slide gets to the absolute heart of the problem. Think about it. When your economy is in a nosedive, what do you need? You need to pump money into the system, right? You need to lower interest rates, get people spending, create jobs. But the gold standard demanded the exact polar opposite. To keep people from cashing in their paper money for gold, countries had to hike interest rates and tighten the money supply, which was like pouring gasoline on the fire. It made everything so much worse. And that's why it's called a straitjacket. The gold standard literally tied the hands of governments. It stopped them from doing the one thing that could have actually helped fight the Depression and ease all the suffering. So the whole world is trapped in this economic death spiral. And our story now zooms in on one nation, Great Britain. They're about to make a choice that, at the time, was just unthinkable. I mean, things went bad and they went bad fast. The Wall Street crash in '29 was the first domino. By 1930, global trade was in an absolute freefall. The whole system was cracking. And by 1931, Britain hit its breaking point. 1931, that's the year. Remember it. It's the moment the entire rulebook for the global economy got thrown out the window. And this is it. Britain does the unthinkable. It breaks the golden promise. It just cuts the cord and walks away from the gold standard entirely. And to the rest of the world, this looked like total surrender. But what happened next was just stunning. You can see it right here in this chart. Look at Britain on the left. The moment they ditch gold in '31, their economy starts to recover. It starts growing again. And then look at the nations that stayed on gold. They just kept sinking deeper and deeper. The evidence couldn't be clearer. You know, this whole ordeal taught the world a very powerful, very painful lesson about being too rigid. What looked like a golden promise turned out to be nothing more than a set of golden handcuffs. So the key thing to realize is that by taking off that straitjacket, Britain could finally do what its economy desperately needed. They could lower interest rates, they could make their exports cheaper, and they could get their factories running again. That flexibility was everything, and it let them start recovering years ahead of everyone else. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that the gold standard's greatest strength, its rigidness, was also its fatal flaw. It made countries put the value of their currency ahead of the actual well-being of their people and their economies. And it taught us a timeless lesson. When a real crisis hits, being able to adapt is so much more important than sticking to the old rules. Which kind of leaves us with one final big question that goes way beyond the 1930s. When does that search for complete, total safety become the biggest risk